Hello and welcome back to the Mountain Buses podcast with me, Jordan. This series is going to be about real scenarios that I have dealt with and things that where you bend the rules to make what happens fit. In this first one, I am going to discuss a real scenario which I was left with at early hours of the morning and felt I didn't really have too much of an option other than to take out the action I did. So, I'll fill you in. On this particular night, I was operating a 216 night bus. Now, these at the time were every half an hour, and the last one became a 237 and headed off into Glossop. On this particular night, I was doing the second of the board, so I was just doing 216s all night. Running down Ashton New Road from Manchester Piccadilly, all the way into Ashton bus station, before they renovated it. So, on this particular night, nothing new happens, you go half an hour backwards and forwards between, as I say, Piccadilly and Ashton. On the last trip, for some unknown reason, for maps that won't ever work, because some people don't think, the last trip terminated in Ashton. Now on this last trip, as you see, it's like, I think it was 3:30 in the morning, something like that, leaving Piccadilly. You watch everyone get on, or the drunks, or the people that don't want to pay the £2.50 fare, or whatever it was at the time. Doesn't matter where they were going, it was £2.50. And as you're driving along, you're generally looking out on the road, and you're checking on your passengers on the interior mirror, making sure nothing's asway. And then obviously when people are getting off, not many people are getting on once you've left the city centre, so you're just getting rid of people until your final stop. And I was driving a Decker, pretty typical for the depot that was at. We didn't really have single Deckers, so it was always a Decker. Enviro 400 for those that want to know. I do apologise for that sound. I bet loads of you just thought your phone had just gone off. So yeah, I was driving an Enviro 400. It'll probably be 19167, something like that. They were the typical buses that we picked for the night, or 450, because they were quick. And in the nighttime schedules, slow buses off the mark were not ideal. Before you knew it, you were missing trips because the timings were very tight. So everyone's got on, and two people got on together. Well, I presumed they were together at the time, a male and a female. They walked down the bus and sat on the near side, so the side by the curb, on the first set of high seats over the rear wheel arches. And as I'm driving along, I'm getting the impression that this lady is maybe a little bit uncomfortable with the bloke that sat near her. Now, I don't know, it's none of my business whether they're together or whatever. So, she's now looking like she's falling asleep, which is, I'll cover sleeping ones in another episode, but it's not uncommon on a night bus. They have a skinful, they fall asleep. And you go, oh, for God's sake, I've got to wake them up now. And then, they're not going to be where they need to be. So, she's acting like she's dozing off. Pretty convincing. About halfway to Ashton, I'm thinking, I'm sure she should have got off by now. I'm sure she said, one of the stops along the route, being Daisy Bank. Not that we went near Daisy Bank, but was in walking distance to Daisy Bank. Just being at the back of Droylsden, if I remember rightly. So I'm like, she's missed a stop. I'm sure she has. But it's not up to me as the driver to remember where everyone's getting off, you know. So I carry on and I get to Ashton. And this bloke that's been sat with her gets off the bus. So everyone's off apart from this lady. So being Ashton, if I wait for the usual procedure, which I'll discuss in another one, I'll be there way into the morning waiting for assistance for me to wake her up. So my common way of waking people up was I'd just shout and get closer, banging the poles and what have you, make as much noise as possible. Turns out she wasn't actually asleep and she had missed a stop, and this bloke was egging her on, and he was like, I'll take care of you, love, I'll get a taxi with you. And you could just see from her face that it wasn't quite right, and it was something that was bugging me about it. So in all of this, I've kept the front doors open, because if they kick off, you've got a means of escape quickly, or they've also got a means of escape. But by this point, this chap is now coming to me and going, I'll take care. And I'm like, no, something's not right. So I sort of usher him away and shut the doors. And this lady's like, I've missed my stop. And I was like, was he bothering you? Is that why you've missed your stop? And she was like, yeah, it was a bit of unwanted attention. I said, you should have said. I said, and we would have sorted it out on the way. But what she was afraid of was she'd get off the bus at Daisybank and then he'd follow her. So definitely unwanted attention. So at this point now, I'm in Ashton. I've finished, not in service, thrown up the 3 noughts, as we call them. And my goal is to get back to the depot quickly as possible, in that terms. And so I'm in a dilemma now. Technically, to the rule book, I should leave this lady in Ashton to fend for herself and get a taxi. But I'm asking her the question. She's going, I need to go to Daisybank. So I get the road name off her. So I'm on my phone, look at Google Maps. I'm like, I know there's a bus route that goes down there, so I know it's safe for the bus to get there. And it's semi on my way. Yeah, it's going to make me another 10 minutes late coming off. And I shouldn't be carrying passengers out of service. Bus companies will have you believe you're not insured. That's a load of bull. But essentially, any claims, you're not in service. So she could then claim that I've molested her or all sorts. But these vehicles, they're all CCTV'd up, they're audioed up. So I'm still in this dilemma now. What should I do? Now, I could ring the depot. There's no point radioing them. They never answered. That's if they managed to remember to put the divert on, so we got through to Sharston depot. So I could have rang the depot and asked for advice, asked for the inspectors and what have you. But I'm like, it's going to take forever. All this lady wants to do is get home now. All I want to do is finish and go home. I finish at 4 o'clock in the morning. Been on since 2 o'clock that afternoon. The last thing I want is extra delay. So I decide that I'll take her back down the bus route, back down the 216. It's sort of towards the depot. It's not going miles out my way. And I'll get there. But then about halfway to where this stopped at Edge, I think it was Edge Lane she needed to get off at, I decide, no. It's now really late. She's been harassed on the bus, which is not fair. No one ever should be harassed on the bus by anyone, even drunk or whatever. No. So I say, I offer to drop her on the road that she needs to go. Say, there's a normal bus service, and she goes, yeah, it's a 231 normally, or whatever it is. It goes down there. So I go, right, fair enough. So my Google Maps recce was correct. Bus route does go down there. And the Deckers. So I know there's nothing really for me to worry about in my double-deck bus. Not to say that means you're not paying attention to every road sign that's going on for width restriction or low bridge or whatever, because at this point I'm going off route into a housing estate that I don't really know. So I decided to take this lady pretty much to her front door. Now, I don't take her to her front door because I don't want to know where she lives. And I don't mean that in a nasty way. Then nothing can come back to me. So as we're going down Daisy Bank, Sunny Sunset, whatever. It's near Droylsden anyway, Edge Lane. As we're going down that road, she goes, you can drop me at the shops, it's perfectly fine, I only live around the corner. So I drop her at the shops. And she goes, oh, you can get out at the bottom. But I'd only just turned into this estate, so I knew that I could get back out. Wide road, so I'll swing it in the road and come back out the way I came in. Because at the end of the day, that's the way I know is safe for the bus, because I've got in that way. I could have gone down the road and she gone, I could get lost, or, you know, I could end up anywhere. It turns out, after that, I've been down that road. You can't get lost. It's impossible. But I didn't know that at the time. So I arrived back at the depot a little bit late. Sign off late. And when you sign off late, there's not normally any questions asked. It's just, oh, I was a bit delayed. So I finished late. No big deal. And I never told the company that I went off route, because could end up with a nice chat in the office with some tea and biscuits. But at the same time, I could get recognised for me going out of the way to help this lady, as well as if anything did come back to it, they know about it already. And I decided not to, because to me the whole matter was done. This lady was home. She'd had to work, it could have been the worst bus journey home, being harassed by this gent wasn't much of one. He had some very choice words for me when I shut the door on him. She's drunk. She's probably not going to remember it in the morning, and if she does, it's going to be very blurry. So she's not going to contact the bus company and go, oh, your driver was at Ace last night, he helped me out after. That's just, it's not going to happen. So I just kept it to myself. And that's really the end of that. Now, night buses were always different. You always had, I wouldn't say trouble, but you always had some event going on them. Some funnier than others. Some that you just look at and you go, really? If I ain't seen this with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed it if someone had told me. And I'm going to get more into these stories as we go on. But for now, I'll leave that with this. A nice 14-15 minute little bit. If there's anything that you'd like me to cover in these about misconceptions about catching buses or whatever you want to know, just drop us an email, admin@mankbuses.com, and I will put it in an episode. These episodes in this series are going to be answering the questions that you have for us. Don't forget, you can follow us on YouTube at MankBuses. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and on the podcasts. You can also become a member on YouTube and on Patreon, where you can support the work that we do. and the preservation of our 1998 Dennis Dart. Thank you so much for listening, thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next episode.